3 things I hear from social class transitioners that I know are holding them back at work because they still feel guilty. 1. My boss wants me to kiss his ass and I just can't do it. Because why does he think he's so special and better than everyone else when everybody else doing the work that he relies on, he doesn't even know their names? 2. I can't delegate. That's what bully bosses who don't know shit do. 3. I'm so burned out and tired, but I can't say that to my family because they think I don't work a real job because they work with their hands and I work on a computer. This post was inspired by one of my first research assistants tagging me on LinkedIn that she struggled with the guilt of hiring someone to clean our house because her and her mother used to clean houses. Doing so made her feel, initially, like she thought she was better than them. I hate that this cut her off. It's Camila Munoz. I'll show her picture here as well for if you want to follow her on LinkedIn. There's a particular kind of guilt that comes with being a first-generation white-collar professional. For me, it showed up in something as simple as hiring cleaners for my home. I grew up in a household where my mom cleaned houses and offices for a living. At times, my dad would also help. I watched them work incredibly hard, often doing the kind of work that people don't naturally want to do. So when I got to a place in my life where I could afford to hire someone to clean my home, I didn't want to tell my parents. I honestly didn't want to tell anyone. Why? Because it felt weird. Almost like I was bragging, almost like I was flaunting some kind of success. And if I'm being completely honest, there was a little bit of shame attached to it too. This is very common. Because how could I hire someone to do something that I watched my parents do? This is what a lot of first-generation professionals and or people who have shifted from more like manual labor to white-collar work experience. She is not alone in this. And she knows this because she was involved in my research on this shift. Every time I catch up with her, I'm just so thankful that someone with this lived experience helped shape this project and several of the projects. But I've started to realize something. It's okay to let the life you worked hard to build make your life easier. Bars. Hiring cleaners does not mean I think I'm better than cleaning. It means I'm choosing to spend these hours somewhere else. It means I'm allowing myself to receive help. A lot of first-gen struggle with this, also at work. This is why my coaching program has a module dedicated completely to learning how to delegate and being okay with it. It's not like how to do it, we cover that, but it's also how to not eat yourself alive with guilt for it. And if you've been bullied in a workplace before, that might also make that extra hard for you. Delegate, because you had the boss who didn't do shit. Honestly, if you can afford to hire someone to clean your home, do it. Self-care doesn't only look like getting your hair or nails done. Sometimes self-care looks like coming home to a clean house because you paid someone to give you back a few hours of your weekend. And I think this applies to so many things for those of us who are first-generation professionals. There are things we're experiencing for the first time that simply didn't exist in our childhood homes. Not because our families didn't deserve them, but because they weren't accessible. Maybe it's hiring a house cleaner. Maybe it's paying someone to mow the lawn. Maybe it's ordering groceries instead of spending 2 hours at the store. Maybe it's outsourcing laundry, getting a meal prep service, using a financial advisor, or paying for convenience without feeling like you have to justify it. We don't have to feel guilty for benefiting from the mobility we worked so hard to achieve. We can honor where we came from and allow ourselves to live differently. So, fellow first-generation white-collar professionals, what's something you started doing or hiring someone else to do that didn't just exist in your home growing up? This post reminded me initially of the only time I've hired cleaners, which was when I was moving out of a condo I was selling. Because yes, I owned a whole condo in the DC area and still didn't hire people, even though I could afford it because it felt weird. I was moving out of it and I'd already sold my car. And so I was like, how am I going to go back and forth and get this without a car? And like, do I need to get an Uber? And my friends were like, just hire someone. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's something people do. Like, it didn't even occur to me as like a thing to do because my mom did all the cleaning. I mean, with us, because there were a lot of us. I'm one of 8 children. And this line of thought led me to something else, is that there's another layer here in addition to class that is gender. Because while many people who've experienced social class mobility, I've interviewed men and women about this. I've interviewed Black and white women and men about this, and then I've surveyed data from all races and genders in the U.S. Men do have the moment of if their parents were mechanics and hiring someone else to do it can feel really weird. Is more often that I hear it from women, things that are considered women's work. Because there is so much societal pressure on devaluing that labor and on that women should just do it. Because what do you mean? She just doesn't want to clean on a weekend. That is what women. What do you mean she wants to come home and relax? That is for men. This is why I push back when we talk about what's real work or delegating or anything, because it can get into a weird space. And again, it is different. I mean, my partner's father is in blue-collar building work. If he ever hired someone to do that work, that he would probably be kind of annoying about it. He would probably be like really vetting them. He might even have some FOMO because he does enjoy some of that labor. I have just seen it more in my research participants and my clients and women about pink collar domestic work, that because our society has just normalized as that is what women should do for free and it's not real work. And hey ladies, why don't you just want to be a trad wife? Why don't you want to not work? So that's where class and gender intersect. But this is one of the people who shaped my research and my book. I do reference her in my book. And if this thing ever makes a damn profit, then I will be sharing it with the research assistants, because we were a public university. We didn't have funding for research assistants, like since I later learned a lot of Ivy League and elite institutions do. So I did this for 8 hours a week for a letter of reference, and I did intentionally build a professional development program for my research assistants because I had so much guilt of having them do work, even though I wasn't making any money off of it, but I was getting a degree. So man, the cycle continues, and always good to see a good person doing well.